We've all been promised this incredible future where technology is genuinely human-centric. They call it the fifth industrial revolution, a world that puts people and the planet first. But what if the very way we coordinate, the foundation of our systems, is just broken? Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating concept that aims to fix that, something called Intent OS. And boom, right there, that quote just nails the problem, doesn't it? For all our talk about building a better future, we're still letting these big top-down institutions decide what's actually good for us. But what if we could completely flip that? What if the power source came from us instead? I mean, the whole vision for the fifth industrial revolution, or 5IR, is amazing. It's supposed to be all about regeneration, ethics, and human dignity. So what's the problem? Well, according to this analysis, it's failing. And it's failing because we're missing a shared language, a way to express what we as humans actually want and need. And this is where you can really see the massive shift they're talking about. The fourth industrial revolution was all about optimizing systems for efficiency, making things faster and cheaper, with humans kind of in the loop. But the goal of the fifth is to optimize for meaning. It positions us not as cogs in the machine, but as the very source of its purpose. Okay, so if the old signals, like profit and efficiency, aren't getting us where we need to go, what's the alternative? The solution being proposed here is a brand new, fundamental signal for all of our systems to listen to, a signal that comes directly from us. The core idea here is that our entire digital world has been built with a crucial piece missing. It's like a foundational building block that we just overlooked. Imagine building an entire complex house, but you completely forgot to invent the concept of a door. That's the scale of what's missing. And here it is. This is the missing piece, declared human intent. It's a signal where systems don't have to guess what we want. We just tell them. Think of Intent OS as the coordination layer that makes this possible. It's like a universal translator for human needs, probably built on stuff like decentralized identity and smart contracts that finally allows our economy and our AI to listen directly to us. This really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Right now, systems are constantly guessing what we want based on these really crude clues like our clicks and our spending habits. But in a world running on Intent OS, we could just declare our intent directly and the systems would have a clear, unambiguous signal to align with. It's a huge shift from simply reacting to us to truly aligning with us. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, but what would it actually look like in practice? What happens when you start rebuilding our world around this completely new signal? Well, let's start with two of the biggest pieces of our lives, how we work and how we organize ourselves. So work itself would totally transform. We'd move away from what is often extractive work, where our labor is just a resource to be used, to something called volitional work. It's a big word, but it just means we choose to contribute to things based on our purpose, on our why, not just because of the paycheck. The whole focus shifts from having a job to making a contribution. And when that happens, it unlocks some incredible potential. Our skills, our time, our creativity, they all become these modular pieces we can offer to projects we actually believe in. And maybe most importantly, all that non-traditional value we create, the stuff that's invisible right now, like mentorship or care work, or just having that one brilliant insight, it finally becomes visible, and it can actually be rewarded. This idea also completely changes how we build organizations. Instead of these rigid, permanent hierarchies that stick around forever, often just out of inertia, we could have these dynamic, intent-aligned swarms. Think about it. Groups would come together around a shared goal, and then when that purpose is fulfilled, they could just gracefully dissolve without the chaos of a big company collapsing. Okay, so we've reimagined work. Now let's zoom out even further. What happens when this new coordination layer touches the massive systems that really shape our world, like AI and the global market? Well, this is where things get truly profound. Giving AI a moral spine. I love that phrase because, let's be honest, right now, AI is often designed to optimize for things that can be pretty bad for our well-being, right? Like maximizing engagement at any cost. Intent OS proposes giving AI a clear ethical anchor, a moral spine. So the AI's core question completely flips. Instead of asking itself, how do I maximize engagement? How do I maximize profit? It starts asking, What best fulfills the declared intent of the people I'm serving, both individually and as a group? This would align AI directly with our well-being. It's a total game changer. And you'd see a very similar shift in our economy. Right now, we live in a push economy. Companies create products, and then they spend billions on advertising to push them on us and persuade us that we need them. This would flip to an intent pull economy, an economy where supply literally forms in direct response to the needs that we've already declared.
Just stop and think about the outcomes of that for a second. They're staggering. Imagine a world where demand is visible before anything is even made. The unbelievable amount of waste from overproduction could just collapse. The constant, exhausting war for our attention would become totally obsolete because companies wouldn't need to manipulate us into buying things anymore.
All right, let's take this to the highest level. How could a new signal like this help us coordinate on the biggest challenges we face as a species? I'm talking about governance and our relationship with the planet. This is really the holy grail of governance, isn't it? People have been trying to figure this out for decades. How do you get the freedom and autonomy of decentralization without society just falling apart into chaos? Well, Intent OS offers a potential path forward. Here's how this new governance model could give us the best of both worlds. First, you have bottom-up intent. That's where individuals and groups can freely declare their needs and goals. But that freedom is balanced by top-down constraints, the absolute must-have guardrails for things like safety, ethics, and planetary boundaries. And what emerges from that is powerful lateral coordination, where different groups can actually work together effectively without some single central authority telling everyone what to do. And this is where our relationship with the planet fundamentally changes. Regeneration stops being this optional extra or some slogan in a marketing campaign. The needs of the planet could be declared as a core intent within the system. That would force a balance between our short-term desires and long-term ecological survival. It could even give a voice to future generations through proxies. And that really brings us to the core thesis here. Intent OS isn't being presented as just another abstract theory. It's the practical language, the operating system that could finally turn the fifth industrial revolution from a noble aspiration into a living, breathing system that we can all actually participate in.
Which brings us to a final thought. If you had the power right now to declare a need or a value or a goal into a system that would actually listen and align with you, what's the very first intent you would declare?